Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Hope you enjoyed part one. Now you're ready to go with part two. If you didn't have a little break, go grab a water, pause this, have a little snack, and come on back. If you are confused as to why this is part two and you missed part one, please go back into the assignment sheet and find part one first in Schoology. And if you are really confused, please just pause this or stop this and send me a message and I can get you sorted out. Everyone else, let's continue with part two. So we've got limits on powers in the legislative branch, and those limits are the following. No laws can be made that interfere with the Bill of Rights or other amendments. Article 1, Section 9 forbids Congress to make any of the following laws. We can't have laws favoring one state over another. We cannot, if we're in Congress, we cannot deny a writ of habeas corpus, which is a court order requiring police to bring a prisoner to court explaining why the prisoner is being held. We can't deny that. And no bills of attainder, which are laws that would punish a person without having a trial or hearing. We cannot do that. No ex post facto laws, which is punishing an action that was not against the law when the action was committed. So if the law hadn't been put into place when the act was committed. How a bill becomes a law. You're pretty well versed in that after watching our Schoolhouse Rock video. A member of Congress submits a bill, a proposal being considered by Congress for law. 10,000 bills are proposed each session, with only a few hundred actually becoming law. Ideas come from citizens, the president, or special interest groups. A bill can only be submitted by a member of Congress. In the House, a bill is introduced by dropping it in the hopper. In the Senate, a bill is introduced on the floor. When submitted, bills get a number, so H.R. 1, House of Representatives 1, or S1. When a bill goes to committee, remember we talked about the committees in part one, the numbered bills go to a committee for review and debate. And this is what the committee can do. They can pass the bill as written, sending it to the floor. They can make minor changes and pass it. They can replace the bill with a new bill that is better. Or they can pigeonhole a bill, which means that they can ignore it or put it aside, and that means it dies in committee. It never moves out of committee. Or they can kill the bill by voting against it. And I will refrain from making a Kill Bill reference. That might not even be a movie you've heard of. Anyway, moving on. All bills that pass committee continue on to its House floor, whatever house it was passed in. Bills that go to the floor are discussed and debated prior to a vote. On the House floor, there are time limits in place and discussion is limited. Bills may have minor changes or amendments made on the floor. Keep in mind, they could have had major changes made in committee, but on the floor in the House, they can only have minor changes made. On the Senate floor, it's different. The discussion on the Senate floor allows riders. Completely unrelated amendments can be added to a bill in the Senate, and this often happens with those special interest groups we talked about in part one. This is where people are essentially horse trading, right? Making a deal. Okay, I'll pass this bill if you put in this other amendment that might have nothing to do with it, but it's something else I want to see passed. There are no time limits on discussion, and senators may filibuster, which is the use of long speeches to prevent a vote. The way to stop a filibuster is to get cloture, which is 3/5 of the Senate has to vote to limit debate to 30 additional hours, which is still a lot of time. The longest ever filibuster was Senator Strom Thurmond at 24 hours and 18 minutes. I know what you're thinking. How did he go to the bathroom? And I'll give you the answer to that when I see you next class. Remind me. He read the Declaration of Independence, Supreme Court rulings, etc., because they have to stay standing and they have to keep speaking. Then the bill goes to a vote. After discussion, the bill goes to the floor for a vote. In a House vote, there is a voice vote. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. You can have a standing vote. Members literally stand to be counted for a vote. Or a recorded vote. Votes are recorded electronically. In the Senate, there's also a voice vote. There's also a standing vote. These are options for how they choose to vote. And anyone can ask for a roll call vote, which is senators respond aye or no as their names are called. And oftentimes this is done, people request a roll call vote so that the public can see who went on the record one way or another. In both houses, a simple majority is needed to pass a bill. Final approval. If a bill passes either house, it goes to the other house for a vote. If amendments or changes are made in either house, a bill goes to a conference committee. Members of both houses will work out the differences for final approval of a bill. The bill must now pass both houses with no additions or changes, or it dies. So sometimes, even when it gets almost to this final approval stage, if there are amendments, it doesn't always make it out of that last conference committee, or it'll make it out of the conference committee, but then they'll still have, it might be voted down in one of the houses. Approved bills move to the president or executive branch. And you know who the head of that is? The president. The president can sign the bill and it becomes law. Or the president can veto. He can refuse to sign. But Congress can override a veto with 2/3 of a vote from both the House and the Senate. So if everyone feels very, very strongly against a president's veto, they can override it. So that protection is there to prevent the president from vetoing anything that they might disagree with if it's in the interest of the will of the people. Or the president could do nothing. If Congress is still in session, the bill will become a law after 10 days. If Congress ends session, the bill dies as a pocket veto. The president does not sign a bill, and Congress ends session within 10 days. So Congress would want to make sure of when they would pass along the bill to the president to ensure there wasn't one of those pocket vetoes. Alrighty. If a bill becomes a law, when a bill survives all the required stages, it becomes an official law, and we watched this video. You can watch it again if you'd like. Out of 10,000 bills per session, only a few hundred become law. And why do you think this is such a complicated process? I'm going to let you answer that in your notes. All right, everyone, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Make sure you submit your notes in Schoology and have a great day. If you have any questions, feel free to email, text, or contact me anytime. Bye, everyone.